is a patriot, and as an old soldier, he will not just fade away. He will die with his boots on. He will make a stirring address to you this morning. Please welcome Major General Robert E. Wagner.
Well, thank you, Harry, for that wonderful introduction. Mr. Wagner is what every VMI graduate should be: a great citizen, a man of honor, and a tremendous success. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. I've gotten so old that I have my own General Marshall story to tell you this morning that happened in the spring of 1954, a long time ago. Don't look so shocked. Spring of 1954, I was in an outfit here called B Company. I assume that B Company still exists. I'm sure it's the best company in the Corps of Cadets. We had this competition called the Garnet Andrews Competition. We won that year earlier than any other company in the history of the Institute. The competition was based on intramural sports, basketball, football, all of that, parades, marching, even marching down to mess hall. We had a company commander, Cadet Walter McCarthy, who was our cadet leader, our cadet captain. One of the best leaders that I have ever served with, and he had a profound influence on us all. Not a single rat in B Company, what we call bull back. Everybody passed, including rat chemistry, as we were talking about, at our table. That was the big killer in our freshman year. And if you were having trouble with rat chemistry or engineer math or something like that, he would get an engineer or a chemical major there to coach you. He said you were sent here to get an education, and nobody flunked out. As far as leadership is concerned and military aspects and everything else, he was something else. So, by the spring of 1954, we had won this award. There was a special parade, and General Marshall was there to take the review. And I'll never forget, I was a rat in one of the front ranks. B Company, center, hot! Went right up, stood at attention, and we were presented the Garnet Andrews Award. And then General Marshall and Cadet Captain McCarthy trooped the lines. And I was a straining rat with my shoulders racked back and my chin pulled in, standing at rigid attention. And they were having a conversation. And the general noticed that there were a lot of fourth classmen in B Company. He said, how are your fourth classmen? How are your rats? And Mr. McCarthy said, sir, they're fine. And he said, remember this, Mr. McCarthy, rats are the backbone of every military organization. Meaning what? Meaning tank crewmen, meaning riflemen, meaning those that do the work, the flesh and body of your future commands. You've got to make sure that they're fit and motivated and prepared to fight, because they are the background, a backbone of every organization. So that was a lesson that I got from General Marshall, and I carried that on and remembered that all these years, and that was related to us by Mr. McCarthy right after this conversation occurred. I get a little emotional when I relate this story because Walt McCarthy was the first VMI graduate that was killed in Vietnam, heroically taking his armored battalion that he advised out of an ambush site. And since that time, he's always had a special meaning to all of us graduates, and particularly those of us who were members of B Company, and has had a profound influence on my entire career. And I hope he's listening to that today. And now, cadets, Marshall Award winners, and as the first commanding general of Cadet Command, at an event that occurred almost a quarter of a century ago, I've reached a real geriatric state. I salute you. Your final grand adventure in Cadet Command Army Leadership Development as a cadet now is mostly behind you. You are about to be the proud commissioned graduates of the toughest leadership development training in the history of our Army. This experience was tough because the Army requires tough leaders to face the grave challenges that face our nation. And you will successfully meet these challenges as proven Army officers because you have learned here from Cadet Command, and what you've learned here from Cadet Command, you have the right stuff and it will stay with you. Now we have some military academy graduates, or cadets here also. I use the term Cadet Command often. I don't want your feelings hurt because you are subjected to the same leadership kind of training and principles that our Cadet Command cadets are exposed to. Your performance over the past cadet years has epitomized what Army officership must be. You must have the right stuff. And in my opinion, you all have the right stuff. Bold, brave, professional, and dedicated to those values that make our nation great. This morning I want to leave you with some thoughts in the extreme relevant context that Cadet Command commissions the majority of the Army Officer Corps. Now, I want to recognize one individual at this table. General Wagner. Would you please stand, sir? He is a relatively new commander. He is the best commander of Cadet Command I have ever seen and promises great performance. And that really matters. And I want you all here right now to give him a big hand. As you all know, we live in a world of professional jointness. In fact, if serving generals don't mention jointness all the time, they get in trouble. It's got to be an integrated part of your personality. But within this joint arena, the Army remains the operative strategic force. Do we need sea power? Do we need sea power? Yeah, we need to get there. We also require air superiority, perhaps to shoot down the Taliban Air Force. That is a sick joke. But all cadets and members of our service must study military history. In all our national conflicts, the Army does much of the heavy lifting. I say that again. The Army does much of the heavy lifting. Only our service, because of our unique boots-on-the-ground, close-combat capability, has the capacity to impose our national will and the objectives of our ally on the enemy. The surge operation recently completed in Iraq and our future operations in Afghanistan and Pakistan provide an example of this capability that has been apparent throughout our history. The Army matters. We are the strategic force.